everyone, welcome back to the Fin Factor. This is a live episode, which is going to serve as episode number 73. Do you got a 73 for me?
Oh, Gregor?
There you go. Yeah, that's not bad. I think that was the only one. I don't know. Anyway, I'm Paul.
I'm Aaron.
And he's typing away right now, so we're going to go ahead and take your comments and your questions. This week we had the two games, one against LA, one against Philadelphia. That's the end of our, I think it was 7-game homestand that we had. That was the game 6 and 7. Actually, both games they played pretty well. One a full 60, another one for 40, and it bit them.
It did. It was disappointing to see that game. They were up 2-0 against the Kings going into the third period, and then they gave up a goal to a guy who scored his first goal of the season.
Yeah.
And then followed up by his second goal of the season. A guy with no vowels in his name. Can't even afford a vowel in his name.
That's right.
Frick.
Furk. Not frick. Furk.
F-R-K.
F-R-K. Furk. Yeah.
Let's do that hockey.
Let's do that hockey. I'm sure he would have. Chance the Rapper would have loved
Yeah.
trying doing that one. Like I said, it was. I mean, both of them pretty good games. I thought the game or against LA, rather, those first two periods, they looked pretty solid. They're playing good defense. They're getting their chances. They put a couple away, which is awesome. And then, in the third period, it was kind of, I think it was like a minute and a half. It was early in the period. They got scored against. And then it was, again, a late period goal, I believe, is the other goal.
It was a minute 30 into the third, and then about a minute 30 left.
Yeah,
in
exactly.
the third.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the bookends of the period, right, and this is where they get scored on. And then that play in overtime is kind of a weird one. Like, I know everybody wants to blame Tomas Hertl on that one, and I don't blame him.
Burns had hit the crossbar right before that.
Yeah.
That's kind of like, if you look back at, there was an overtime game where Marleau scored. Was it against the Kings?
I'm not sure.
He scored in overtime on LeBanc really pressing.
Okay.
And then Marleau followed it up with a rebound.
Oh,
I think it was against the Kings,
it was,
right?
Because Quick punched the puck out. That's right. Yeah.
If you look at that, and I'm pretty sure I said it after that when we recapped that week, that could have gone back the other way just like it did on this last game.
Yeah.
Could have gone back the other way because Marleau and LeBanc were right there, and I don't know who was on the ice back then, but they would have gotten caught up ice, and the Kings would have come back and did exactly what they did this last Friday. So that's kind of the chance you take in overtime. I don't mind the Sharks being aggressive. I mean, that he hits the crossbar.
Yeah.
That's an inch away, and that's a goal, and that's a game over. Like, take the chance. I'd rather you do that. How often is he going to hit the crossbar and bounce back and go the other way and have them score?
Yeah, and it sucks to not get the extra point, but at the same time, it's not the skills competition really, because it's not the shootout. It is 3-on-3. It is a potential game situation, but it doesn't really mean as much as, like, say, playoffs, right? You're going to go back to being 5-on-5.
I mean, it is a reason why they added another column in the standings of RW, not ROW, just because overtime in the regular season is not the same.
And the thing that hurt about that game was, again, and I know you've mentioned this before, is we were up 2-0.
Yes.
And then lost in OT. If we were down 2-0, came back, and then lost in OT, doesn't feel as bad.
Remember, we just touched on this last week. The notes are actually still up here, aren't they? Going into the third period, I think they were
minus 16.
12-0. No, having the lead going into the third period, they were 12-0.
Yeah,
awesome.
You're right.
Way to go, Sharks! Make me look stupid. Anyway,
that was the LA game. Then, of course, we play the next game there against Philadelphia, which is kind of cool. They had Justin Braun back on the bench. He was waving to the crowd and everything. Didn't look too emotional. I mean, maybe a little bit, but for a guy that basically spent his entire career in San Jose, I think one of the fun things, or one of the cool things he said was that it was he missed the players and the coaching staff and everything else. Yes, but it was the training staff that he missed the most, and it was they became like family to him. So he said it was good getting back and seeing those guys and everything else. So kind of a welcome home moment for Justin Braun, which is really cool.
I heard on the radio they interviewed him. I think Reason interviewed him, and he had butterflies going into the morning skate because he had been there for so long. And I forget. I'm trying to look it up right here. He was 7th round, 201st pick. So that's another guy that the Sharks drafted super late and made the NHL, which you don't see very often, however you do with the Sharks, apparently.
Yeah.
But he's going to love the Sharks forever because they gave him an opportunity, and he was able to take it.
And isn't that weird that the Sharks have this knack for drafting guys way late in rounds and having them not just contribute necessarily? Because even if you get like a 7th rounder and he plays steadily in the AHL, I mean, that's a good find, right? But then you got a couple guys now that are making it into the NHL as 6th and 7th round picks, or these late round picks. That's it's a really good eye. But isn't it strange that they have a hard time picking? Even if for a guy that's maybe like 25th or 26th overall, yeah, he may not be the stud that you hope that he might be if he was, in the higher, like the top 5.
But you'd expect it to be an NHL player at least.
A contributor, a third liner, something.
Exactly.
And it's just so funny that they have a hard time picking those guys, but they seem to be able to find those gems. Now, Aaron was just laughing, and I have an idea of why he was laughing. And yeah, so what we're going to do right now is we're going to have the ceremony, okay? We're going to have the raising of the Teemo time clock. Is that what they're doing?
Yes.
Okay, good. So here we go.
In all caps. Bring up the Teemo clock.
Do you want to make any noises here? Like a little...
Yeah, you want to ring the bell? Oh.
Okay. It is Teemo time once again. It's about time, that's for sure. Yeah, you know what's hilarious? And I brought this up to you just before we started here. Thank you. We're good. Thank you.
There's 3 bells.
Teemo is now showing up as the team's leading goal scorer. Now he's in a 3-way tie, but when you look on NHL.com, or no, it was the Sharks app, I think is what it was. Teemo shows up as the leading goal scorer. Kind of shows you how much goal scoring issues the Sharks have been having as of recent. That the guy scores a hat trick, and he just becomes tied with them. It's like he's been off the score sheet for a very long time.
See, that's wrong. It should go in order of points.
Yeah.
Which is Hertl, Kane, Meier.
There you go.
Because they each have 14 goals. Yeah. But Hertl's got 30 points, Kane's got 28, and Meier's got 25.
And we'll get to the comments and questions in just a second. But speaking of points and whatnot, Kane, couple assists. I don't have a problem with him not putting the puck in the net if he's contributing to the puck getting in the net. Yes. I don't care who scores it. I care that it gets scored.
Right. Yeah, so, he had 2 assists, I think.
Yeah, he did. He assisted on both of Meier's. You know what? The one that was just a little tap-in.
Pass.
The one that was a little tap-in.
He sauced it over the guy's stick, didn't he?
No, okay. That was the one-time cross-creaser. That was beautiful.
That was Kane, though.
That was Kane making that pass. I'm also talking about the other one where Kane takes it from behind the net, skates up the boards, and if you look at it, he's not looking. It's a no-look pass.
Yeah.
It's actually, I think he was trying to just fire the puck on net. And
so
he was
looking for the no-look?
Yeah, look for the no-look. Because he's not looking over. He pulled the jumbo on this one.
He did.
Yeah. And he just kind of was skating up the boards, and all of a sudden he just rips it like right towards the net. And Teemo didn't even really get a good wood on it, really. He just kind of...
He didn't have to.
Tapped it, and it just kind of went in. You could tell it just hit his stick, and he watched it and was like, and just went in the net. Really good job by Kane doing all the work there.
That was his hat trick goal.
That was
and it was such a bang fast play that I think the crowd was kind of like, did that just go in? Is that a goal? And then slowly the hat started coming down.
One other thing that I noticed from Teemo, by the way, when he scored the second goal, at least I didn't catch the reaction on the first goal. Third goal, he smiled. Second goal, he pulled a Kaner. There was no smile. He was just
he was like pointing at Kane, like that was.
Act like I've been there before, right?
Yeah.
So okay, all right, we'll see.
He had a 4-point night.
Yeah, did well.
That's beastin'.
Did real well.
You know who didn't have a good night that night?
Oh boy.
I was gonna bring this up.
Uh-oh. You want to jump into negativity right now?
$35.825 million got 0 points the other night.
35.8.
I added up the math. That's 44% of the salary of the Sharks got 0 points in a 6-1 win.
So you're saying you're adding up all the guys that didn't hit the score sheet.
Goose eggs. No assists, no points, nothing.
Okay.
Nason, Couture, Hertl, LeBanc.
Yeah.
Melker, he gets a pass. He only had 2 minutes.
We took a puck off the head.
Vlasic, Erik Karlsson, 0 points. However, nobody was a minus, at least, for the 1 goal.
I'll say this, though.
Oh, it was a power play goal, huh?
I'll say this, though. Yeah, for a guy like Erik Karlsson, like not to get on the score sheet, I have a feeling, and we go back and rewatch it, but I have a feeling that he set up quite a few scoring opportunities.
Oh, I'm not saying he played terribly or whatever. It's just interesting that many top-end, high-paid players didn't get anything in a 6.
Sure.
Imagine having those guys on your fantasy team, and you're like, 6-0.
Yeah.
How'd my guys do? What do you mean nothing? What did they do all game? That's very
That's
frustrating.
fair enough.
It's very
Okay,
frustrating.
let's go ahead and jump into some of the comments and questions. I'm sure we have something by now. So.
Sure. Bring up the Teemo clock.
We did. All right, good.
Check. Caretaker won, and I'm going to go back from like the beginning. The third period has been the most brutal to watch. This is true, but now they are +2 after this game against Philly. They added +2. Yeah, it chips away. I thought they played very well. I want to give them credit when credit is due.
Sure.
I thought what I noticed right away in the first period, Timo Meier was on a mission to hit everything.
Yeah.
He was out there. It was. I thought about it because I watched him in the one shift. I think he had 3 hits, and I was like, it's awkward because he's seeking out to hit the guy when he's not really even lining him up. He kind of, I don't know, like he's making it a point to finish his check.
Yeah, which is good. That's again the way Teemo Maier plays best is when he's out there being physical. Whether that means throwing hits, whether that means getting in front of the net and getting pushed around a little bit, battling for that position, just driving straight to the net. We saw the goal. I think it was I can't remember the goalie that was tripping him. It was Fleury actually when he drove into the net and pushed it in, knocked the post off the moorings. Fleury was on the ground, tripped him up as he skated by. That's when Team was at his best.
Yeah.
When he's upsetting the other guys and he's getting in that dirty area there.
Right.
So it was good to see him. I mean, the goals that he scored, the tap in, he was right next to the post there. The cross creaser, again, right next to the post there, right? So he was in tight, he was in close. Those ones he didn't have to get dirty, but he's in that really high danger in tight space. So good on him for sticking to the game plan this time around, because it seems like from Bugner at least that was what the issue for him was.
And it was a good response from Bugner, which is another perfect response from Timo after Bugner called him out from caretaker wanted. Agree.
Yeah.
So from Maxi, so that 6-1 win, is that just a fluke or start of the recovery? I think less about the score and more about how they played. I thought they played very well against Philly. Philly looked a little tired. They looked like they were getting beat to the puck on almost every one-on-one battle. So I don't expect every game to be like that from here on out, because you're going to find teams playing like how the Sharks did last night. So I don't expect a lot of 6-1 wins. But if they play like they did last night, even if the other team is better than them or playing just as hard, expect more wins than losses out of it. But I wouldn't expect them to go on a 15-0 tear in the next couple weeks.
Well, see, and this to me is it's what the Sharks are capable of. Okay, this isn't just a fluke. This is what they can do, right? They can do this night in and night out, not 6-1, but play this way. Now, the outcome happened to be a 6-1 win, which is great. But if they continue to just play this way, strong defensively, they were getting in front of the goaltender's eyes a little bit there. Some puck, I think a puck or two went in by being in close like that and making him uncomfortable. In fact, the one goal against on Martin Jones, you could see it. The puck went up to the point and he had to look past, again, this screening issue for him. He had to look past on his left to look around. Shot comes over the other side on his right. And so he tries to make the save, and it's too late. So again, getting in front of the goaltender's eyes and whatnot, if they can continue to play the way that they did even against LA, if they continue to play the same way they did against LA and Philadelphia, I don't see a reason why this team can't go on a run. So I don't think it's a fluke. I think it's finally seeing what the Sharks are capable of. The question is, are they going to be able to maintain? Are they going to be able to continue to do that? Will this finally be the wake-up call? Oh, man, we just blew a team out. Maybe we should just stick to the system instead of trying to do it all ourselves. Because there are times where, the studs on the team are going, I got to make it happen. I got to be the one that does it, So they go out there and they're pushing so hard on an individual effort that they're trying to score a goal. They're trying to make a big play happen, and in doing that, they're forcing the play. They're getting themselves out of position. They're not sticking to the system, and I think that's what Bob Bugner wanted them to do. Just simplify, stick to the system. You don't have to go out and be the superstar stud. You just have to play within the system, and it'll all work out. And that game in Philadelphia, and even the first 40 minutes against LA, it all worked out. Like, they did a really good job of playing solid defensively. The offense did take care of itself, which is, again, something that we've been saying on the show for quite a while. So really happy with that effort. Now, do I think they can continue it? Yeah, as long as they continue to play that way, sky's the limit, man. I mean, again, we've always said on the show for this season, is this a playoff team? I still believe that they can be. Now, I know you look at the pace, you look at the trend, you look at all the projections, you look at the wheel that has us with a sliver.
Question for that.
Yeah, you look at the wheel that has that little tiny sliver, and I'm
so
like, yeah, all they're doing is looking at the trend. Of course they're going to say we're not going to make the playoffs.
Right.
So long as we get the ball rolling here. If this is the
Same thing
beginning of it.
when Evander Kane scores 2 goals in the first game of the season, he's on pace for 164
Exactly.
games, or 164 goals.
Exactly.
Like, come on, that's not how that works.
So as long as they get the ball rolling and keep the ball rolling here, there's really no reason that other teams that are overachieving can't fall off the map while we're climbing that ladder again.
Did you guys see Brody's tweet about how many games the Sharks need to make playoffs? Do you think it's possible? Same thing we were just talking about.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the standings right now. The good thing is the Pacific is still, everyone's catchable. I mean, the Sharks have 37 points. They're sitting in 7th. They're just ahead of LA. Vegas has 48. Vancouver and Arizona are sitting in 2nd and 3rd at 46 points. So we're only 9 points behind 2nd and 3rd. It's not going to be easy. I'm not saying they're just going to blow everyone through the water, but it's doable. It's manageable. Like,
The Pacific Division is not that strong.
No.
So, and I know the next part of this is going to be, well, even if we make the playoffs, we're going to get hammered.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. Get to the dance, you got a chance.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, again, we could bring it up again, St. Louis, but we've also seen in the past, LA came in as an 8th seed.
I was going to say LA won as an 8th seed, so...
This is not every other sport. In hockey, there's so much parity in the league.
Look at last year, Columbus and Tampa Bay.
Yeah. Talk
about David and Goliath right there.
So for me, it's just about making the playoffs. You just make the playoffs. I mean, anything's possible. So I'm not overly concerned just yet, guys. I'm really not, because again, I look at the Pacific and I'm like, there's some teams, like you've been saying, contenders and pretenders. There's some teams that we think are going to drop off, and if they're dropping off and we start catching on a roll, yeah, we could very easily slide into a wild card spot at the least. So I don't know. I don't think we're out of it yet, guys.
Corey K. All right, Paul, I think it's time to consider a career change. I think it's time to put an application in for head coach. There's not too many coaches with championship pedigree on their application.
Championship pedigree? Oh, well, I don't know if he's referring to the roller championships.
Probably.
Yeah, okay, cool. Oh, too close. But no, so yeah, I don't do head coaching for anything worthwhile. I just the 6U kids, and it's fun, and I have a good time working with them. Actually, was out with them a little bit today, and one of the kids goes, "Hey, you're a great coach." A 6-year-old kid, "You're a great coach." I was like, "No, I'm not, but I'll agree with you, sure." So anyway, yeah, so. Definitely not of the same mind as Pete DeBoer or Bob Bugner or any of those guys. Those guys are extremely well trained in what they do. I just like sitting here and talking, so a lot. Fire away.
Maxway, Teemo must be watching your guys' streams.
Probably not.
Probably not, but Joe Thornton is.
Brendan Dillon might be.
Because Thornton scored, though, after I called him out last week. I'm like... I hope you didn't watch that and be like, I'm not going to say anything, but
I'll put this one in for Aaron. That's the terrible impression.
That's a horrible impression.
Are you mic'd up?
Yes.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, my goodness.
Caretaker wanted, I hope Melker is okay. That was scary to see. Yeah. I agree. My guess is concussion. He's probably going to be out for, well, who knows? Concussions, you never know. But,
yeah.
I think... I wouldn't be surprised if we see him get put on IR, depending on how he's doing the next week. Yeah. Because then they can retroact it to the game, I think.
Yeah, so, and I wanted to say one thing about that as well, and I think I tweeted it out. It was Sean Couturier, I believe, was kind of coasting through like medium-high slot kind of area right after Melker got hit in the head there. And the first thing Couturier did, it was like in slow motion, it was still like a split second after he got hit. He immediately raised his hand up and was like trying to get the ref's attention to say like, hey, stop the play. And, I mean, obviously they're on a power play in the zone with a man down, and he rose his hand up saying, hey, dude's hurt. So my hat off to Couturier. I think his first name is Sean. To Couturier there for just... Yeah, you keep making noises over there. What in the hell? Get out of here. Come on, knock it off. Jesus. Anyway, so yeah, my hat's off to Couturier there for just basically being a good person. So yeah, just want to say that. Anyway, yeah. That's all. One thing, I did meet with a fan at one of the practices. She told me she watches the lives like all the time. If that person is here. I can't remember the handle that you told me. If that person's here, just go ahead and say hello in there so we know who you are. But anyway,
and
go
we
ahead.
can also do roll call and tell us where you're
Fire
watching
away.
from and how you found us. Couture and Hurdle were playing more sound defense that game, though, from Max Way. Interesting, though, because Melker, going back to Melker's injury, he only had 2.5 minutes of ice time. It was early. It was in the first period, right?
I think it was in the first.
So they had to double duty the fourth line with the forward again.
Yeah.
Like they were playing with 7 defensemen, even though they only had 6. But you know what I mean? Like somebody had to cover for Melker, and I think Kane got some extra shifts in there, like he did last time. So good on the team to not fold when they lost to wingers, and it was a back-to-back as well because they played the night before.
After a deflating loss too, I would say. So I think they bounced back the right way.
Yeah,
for sure.
I thought they had obviously they had a good bounce back game. They destroyed them, but
yeah, it's easy to say that when it's a 6-1 win.
yeah, but just even if it was I would say even a 3-1 win.
Yeah,
I thought they played really well and looked really good and really a complete game.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. I think they said it on TV like they shouldn't. I think it was Brett Hedican was saying on during the broadcast.
Don't look at the scoreboard.
Don't look at the scoreboard. Like, don't look at the clock.
Yeah.
Just keep playing like you were playing and wait until the buzzer sounds, and you know the game's over or the period's over or whatever.
The game itself will tell you when it's over.
Exactly.
Just keep playing.
Where was it? Looking at the Pacific Division, we are only a few wins away from being back in it. And
there's months of hockey.
From Ben and Gunsry, here's a little controversial.
Okay.
I think it's time to concede. We would be better off spending $11 million per Pavelski, Donskoy, and Nyquist instead of EK65 just for this season, though. Long term, I still think Doug Wilson makes the right choice with EK65. The way EK65 has been playing, still not giving him a pass knowing what he is capable of.
For Pavelski, Donskoy, and Nyquist.
I believe Pavelski, this is all a couple, same guy, but I'm going to keep reading. I believe Pavelski, Nyquist, and Donskoy would add depth, which we are lacking, and overall we would be better. But as I said, just for this season, though. Provided Ferraro had been rocking this season, we would be fine without EK65, I think. It's a loaded, long question, but...
Okay, so my first problem is that you're not going to sign Pavelski, Nyquist, and Donskoy back for $11 million. Collectively, they cost a lot more than $11 million, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so that for me is number one. Now, if he's saying just for this season, if you're not going to sign any of those guys for a 1-year contract, so
I would have been okay with Donskoy leaving. I think he would just needed a change of scenery.
Yeah, and I think the change of scenery is really what kickstarted him. People look at him now and going, "See, Donskoy is awesome." And you should. It's like
you surround yourself with McKinnon and
exactly,
and
yeah,
Rantanen and Landeskog.
I think it complements him better in Colorado than maybe it did here in San Jose. So, yeah, that's the whole thing with Donskoy. But anyway, again, for me, it's you're not going to sign all of them for $11 million. You can't. You're not going to be able to sign all of them to 1-year deals because that's part of why Pavelski left. We offered him a 2-year deal. He wanted a 3.
Just like Marlowe.
Yeah, Donskoy got a 4-year deal. I think it was 4 years, $4 million or something like that. And then Nyquist, same thing. He got a multi-year deal. So none of them are going to be able to sign for 1 year. Now, if you're saying that you would just sign them for whatever it is that in terms of the length, the contract length, but this year it would be great, and maybe the years after that, maybe not so great, then, okay, maybe you have a point, but you're kind of handcuffing yourself for years to come then.
He got 3.9 for 4 years.
Yeah.
I think that's a little too high for him.
Yep.
But
which I said as soon as they made that contract. So
Colorado's also at the bottom of the league for salary cap.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So they could make that.
They're going to make a move for somebody. For sure.
Because Rantanen got paid.
Yep.
He got 9.2. McKinnon's at 6.3. That is a steal, man. I mean, they even paid Kadri $4.5 million, which I think is a little high.
Yeah.
Landeskog's only getting $5.5.
They must be up for contract soon.
Landeskog in 2 years, McKinnon in 4 years,
oh, wow.
Rantanen in 6 years.
That's a great deal.
I mean, they're going to be stacked. Eric Johnson is overpaid at $6 million, I think.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and they got Makar lined up for $880 the next 2 seasons. That's just silly. It's silly. Yeah, Colorado's gonna be a strong team.
Cool.
Anyway, it's not a Colorado show. So, moving on. Is Jones a backup for the rest of the year? From Deuce's Shoeless. I think we talked about this either last week or the week before. I think it's going to be a 1A, 1B situation. They're going to go with the hot hand. Dell was playing better than he was at the moment, but Jones got some extended time with Nabokov, and I thought he looked great last night. I mean, he had that one screen goal on the power play.
I don't fault him for that. I don't even fault the PK for that necessarily. Again, sometimes the other team does the right thing, and there's not much you could do against it, right? So I think that, they did the right thing. They got in his eyes, they worked the puck up high, they had him coming out a little bit, had to look around a screen, and they shot it to the other side of the screen. It's hard to save a puck when you're deliberately out of position because you have to look around the guy, right? The puck's coming over your right, you're leaning to your left so you can see it. You don't really have a choice. So that puck just, great shot, great screen. Sometimes the other team just does good things, and there's no one to blame for it except for the other team. So, I have no problem with that goal. And I did think that he looked a lot better. In fact, one of the guys on Twitter that was kind of going back and forth, or maybe he was just posting it up there, he says, I feel like Jones has been a lot more, or less like reactionary, right? He's kind of getting in the right spot and getting set before he has to react. And to me, that's great, and that says a lot about the work that Nabokov's putting in, but it says a little bit more to me about the defense. And I know you guys are tired of me hearing me say that, but if he has more time to get in place and get set, that means that the defense is doing a better job of keeping them wide, of limiting their opportunities in tight, in close. And again, of course, the goaltending numbers are going to look a whole heck of a lot better when that's the case. When the defense is doing a great job of keeping it out, keeping the chances limited, not giving up a bunch of rebounds and not being able to clear them out, right? When they're doing all the right things in front of the goaltender, his goals against average and save percentage are both going to look a lot better. So I know people like to point to those two stats and say, well, we're at the bottom of the league. It's like, but that's reflective of the team.
Yeah.
So, whatever. Anyway.
Follow-up question to that. Is
Okay.
Dell being played so much because he's being shopped?
Yeah.
Maybe some truth to that. I don't think he's being shopped, but I think offers would be entertained depending on what would be offered coming back.
I think it's a byproduct. I don't think he's deliberately being played to be shopped.
Right.
I think he's being played because Bugner's like, dude, Jones, you've handcuffed me here. If you're not going to be the standout, then I need to play whoever's going to get us a win at this point. We need wins.
It's creating a competition between the two.
Exactly, yeah.
So you need to play better so you can get the starts.
Now, if it happens to be that Aaron Dell plays really well and Aaron Dell's trade value goes up, and we don't need to have two goalies who are, coming back up and playing into form. We just need Jones to be Jones. And Dell's maybe not going to re-sign because he's on his 1-year contract. He's on the last year. He's going to be UFA. So maybe that does come to fruition that we do trade Dell and his trade value is up high because he's been getting games and whatnot. But I think it's a byproduct. I don't think they're doing that specifically to unload him. At the beginning of the season, I was saying, we should probably shop Dell and get him out. But I don't think this is what that is. I think this is legitimately just whoever's going to get us a win tonight, that's the guy I want to play. Yeah. And didn't I tell you? They're going to play Dell against LA? Didn't I tell you?
I don't remember.
I did tell you that.
Did you?
Selective memory over here, this guy. Usually I'm the one that can't remember anything. Anyway, fire away.
I'm going to score this one for Aaron.
That's not Joe Thornton.
That's
like Quasimodo. What is that?
It's creepy is what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm kind of
You
caught
want to
up.
read the comment there?
Sorry. I lost my whole train of thought here.
Sure.
All right, different subject. Other than Timo and LeBanc, who do you think the other players are that were not performing?
The other players that were not performing? Couture is probably one of them.
He's not. He was making plays and just wasn't getting on the score sheet.
Everybody was not getting on the score sheet, right? I think for the most part, most of the players were doing an okay job.
I thought Hurdle looked against Philly.
Sure.
I thought there was a couple chances that he had where he was in tight on the goalie and he just kind of threw it at the net like he wasn't trying to score, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He made no effort. It was just I'm just going to put it on goal.
Well, and we're focusing on the forwards here. Let's not forget
Right.
Brent Burns has been having a heck of a go.
Yeah. He got on the score sheet with 1 assist.
I'll take it.
It was a +4.
Yeah, that's great. And that's great. That's great.
He was on the ice for at least, for 4 of the goals.
And for a lot of folks that don't like the plus-minus stat, look, I understand that, but when you've got a +4 in a game, it's pretty indicative of you having a good game.
No points, but you're +4, you're in
Yeah.
on the action, even though you're not getting in on the action, I guess.
Yeah.
That makes sense. I mean, even Melker was a +1 because Kelman scored a goal. Shellman, sorry. And someone said that, why is it pronounced Shellman when it's Kelman?
It's Swedish.
So?
That's how they do it.
That's how Swedish fish are pronounced?
I don't know. We got a buddy who speaks Swedish. Maybe he can help us out.
That's true.
But
he's a Stars fan, so.
Wait, is it Swedish? Shellman. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Whatever his nationality is, the K sounds like an SH in that way. So, anyway, are you done playing with your lip over here? What's going on?
Sorry. I saw Jones coming out of the net first time. Nabokov teaching, probably. Like, to play the puck? Is that what you mean? Like, to come out of the net to play the puck behind the net or something?
Maybe being more aggressive coming out of the net?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Considering the cap problem and you have no choice, who do you trade, Jones or Dell?
You can't trade Jones.
If Dell gets traded, who's ready on the CUDA? Korsanash?
Koshinosh.
They spelled it. They butchered it. I don't think either one's ready. If you look at their stats, they're just as bad as Dell and Jones, and they're in the AHL.
Let's be fair. What have I been saying? Let's be fair. You never know how a goaltender is going to do, because you put Koshinosh in front of much better defenders, not in the AHL, in the NHL. Put him in front of much better defenders. You never know. If the AHL team is so bad and so leaky, then look, they're not scoring many goals, and they're also letting in a ton of goals. Now, is that all goaltending, or does it go back to what we've been saying, which is the team defense isn't quite there? Look, the Barracuda just lost their entire coaching staff. Okay, and what's his name? John McCarthy retired. Which, by the way, happy retirement to John McCarthy.
Yep.
A heck of an AHL career. Had a handful of games in the show, and decided to hang him up because he had a hole in his heart or something.
It was some kind of either small hole or palpitation, or he had something going on.
Just crazy. But we did happen to see him dressed up on the bench, and looks like he's going to give coaching a go, and he's wasting no time. So amazing to me. In any case, yeah, if that whole unit isn't working well as a group, yeah, it doesn't matter what goalie you have in net, you're going to get shelled. So it's you just never know. You just never know. Now, in terms of who would you trade, you can't really trade Martin Jones. You can't really trade him because the amount of money that he's making, he's still got length on his contract. No one's gonna trade for that right now at this point in the season. If they're gonna do that,
clause, doesn't he?
Maybe, I'm not sure. But look, you're not gonna trade in the middle of the season.
It's a 3-team list that he submits.
Okay, there you go. But let's say that one of those 3 teams that he would be willing to go to, one of those 3 teams is probably not going to be asking for a goaltender for that much.
Unless they're giving us some kind of bad contract back.
Maybe.
Just like the Lucic trade.
Maybe.
Lucic and James Neal.
I just don't see that happening. I mean, one of 3 teams that happens to have that going, I just don't see that. So I think between the 2 of them, Dell is the only one that's actually tradable. And some folks saying, no, he's really not, because it's $2 million for a backup who wasn't playing very well. But you'd see his stock rising maybe a little bit here if he can string together a few more games. And the team makes him look a little bit better too by way of playing solid around him. Then, who knows? Maybe his value does go up a bit. Maybe he can get shipped. But do you want to ship him then? If he's stepping in and he's playing fairly well, then you're thinking about, okay, we bring in one of the backups or one of the guys from the AHL, or if we make a trade and a backup comes in, whoever that is needs to learn Brent Burns, Erik Karlsson, Vlasic, the way that those guys play. That's something that takes time. If you're going to do that, you do it before the season starts, in my opinion. You give them as much time as possible to learn the guys in front of them as you can. So I just don't see it happening at this point.
I saw something very interesting on Twitter yesterday during the game or after the game. Doug Wilson inherited Nabokov when he came in as a GM. He has never drafted a goalie.
Right.
Every goalie has come in via free agency.
Well, he's drafted goalies that just didn't pan out, though.
Right.
Okay.
But that's my point.
Right.
Every goalie that's started for the Sharks has been from a trade.
Right.
So we had Niemi. And Toskala and Jones. Trying trying to think who else is in there. Even Aaron Dell was a free agent. He wasn't drafted by the Sharks. I wonder now that who's in charge now? His son's in charge.
Mm-hmm.
If he's going to draft a goalie in the next season or two, to at least get a semi-high pedigree goalie. I mean, goalies don't get drafted in the first or second round normally. It's usually like a good goalie would be a third or fourth round pick.
Exception Marc-Andre Fleury, of course.
Well, yeah, there's exceptions because
yeah.
there's some guys that like he went
But
first
no,
overall.
you're absolutely right. He could be a stud goalie.
Right.
He's probably going in the second round.
Yeah.
Late second round,
Mm-hmm.
you know? Yeah, no, you're absolutely right on that one. I can't think of any other goalies really that are really high picks.
Yeah.
But the reason I'm shaking my head no is because I think that already happened, right?
What do you mean?
Emond or Emond,
Yeah, so
however you
somebody
say it.
said Edmondson.
Shortridge, right?
Yeah.
Shortridge is backing up in the CUDA. Well, he's I don't know, I guess 1B, I don't know. Koshinash.
Shortridge right now has 12 games played,
Mm-hmm.
3.85 goals against. He's 3-6 with an .854 save percentage. Ouch.
Yeah, see,
Koshinash?
Koshinash.
Koshinash?
I just think that they've already got some prospects in the pipeline. Do you remember when people were saying put Shortridge in?
Oof.
Right?
Man, he would get destroyed.
No, he would, but people are high on him, right? People
Yeah.
were high on Shortridge. People were high on Emond or Emond or however you say his name. I'm still fairly high on Koshinash. I'd like to see what he could do. Maybe he steps in and those numbers get drastically better because he's got drastically better defense in front of him, right?
Goalies generally take a while to develop.
Sure.
I mean, look at last night. Carter Hart was a guy who came in last year because Philly was so far out of the playoffs. They're like, all right, let's just play the young guy because
Yeah.
he's their up-and-coming stud that they drafted, I think, even the year before
Give him
that.
some experience.
And he did not have good numbers in the, I don't even think it was the AHL. It might have been his, no, it wasn't his junior team because he was 20. But anyway, his numbers weren't great. And he came up and he played well, but he also has some stinkers. I mean, he let in 6 goals last night. Not to say that they were all his fault, but still,
Yeah.
6 goals is 6 goals. I'm surprised they didn't give him the hook after the 4th one.
Yeah.
But again, that's he's a stud. He's going to be a stud, but he's still not quite there yet.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to take time, even though he's in the NHL now. He's still not like they have Brian Elliott as a backup, but he's kind of like Carter Hart will play 2 games to every
He's a
one.
1B.
Right? Yeah,
Yeah.
or 2A, almost like. I don't know, does it make sense? He plays more than a normal backup.
Sure.
Does,
Okay.
If that Carter Hart's only going to get, I think a true starter would be like 60 starts.
Yeah.
Out of 82 games, he's probably going to be like high 40s, low 50s.
Right.
So not quite half, a little bit more than half. But
Sure.
Not 60 games.
Yeah.
So they can't quite trust him yet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I think for the Sharks, I think they've already got some of their guys in the pipeline. I'm not sure if drafting a goalie is going to be the top priority for them. I think probably of high priority is going to be winger depth because the Barracuda aren't getting it done either. So I think they're probably going to be looking at some goal scoring, some solid, pure goal scoring, and maybe secondarily, some good two-way. Another Logan Couture type of guy that can play both sides of the puck, offensively, defensively, power play, PK, solid 5-on-5 guy, somebody who's reliable 200 feet. You can always use guys like that. The only problem is a lot of times guys like that end up on like your third line, the guys that you don't play a ton, but they're good kind of both ways, but they can't really put the puck in the net. So I think they're going to look out after some guys that are really good goal scoring types, especially if Kevin Labanc is not going to pan out. He's, again, still young, don't get me wrong, but this guy it's hard for him to play a full 200-foot game, and then when he's not scoring, it's like, well, then you're best utilized in the box on too many men penalties. So I don't know. I think they're going to go after some goal scoring and a little more solid two-way before they'll go after a goaltender.
Yeah, Zachary Emond, Emond.
Yeah, I don't know if it's Emond or Emond. Yeah,
I don't know. He was drafted in the 6th round, 176th overall in 2018. He's playing in juniors right now. He's only 19 years old.
Yeah.
So I bet that just kind of lines him up to he'll be 20 next year, so he'll be in the AHL.
Mm-hmm.
And one of those guys will be pulled up because Dell will be most likely gone, unless they bring in somebody else. But that moves the pipeline up. for goaltending.
Yeah.
So we'd probably see Kornosh or Korshinosh.
Yeah.
Koshinosh?
Koshinosh. Yeah.
Or Shortridge up as a backup to Joner next year. But it'll be a lot cheaper. I'll save him some money, at least.
Save a little over $1 million, right?
Yeah. LeBanc is like Kovalev, minus all the hockey IQ and plus all the effort.
That's not fair.
Directly, so
LeBanc's got some pretty good offensive hockey IQ.
He's gotten better.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, defensively, I think he's gotten better.
Yeah.
A little bit more responsible.
Was Kovalev really defensively responsible?
He was just lazy. Like, he would just hang around. He would
Okay.
never play defense. He'd be like, screw that, I'm too good for that, basically. He was fantastic.
I'll scan up the board. Just hit me.
Offensive talent. Yeah. Like, he was just give me the puck. And then he would puck hog the whole time.
Right.
He's that guy that you play with on a beer league team that you hate. Not play against, with.
Yeah.
Because you're never going to get the puck back when you give him the puck. There's a... was it Mike Keenan was his coach on the Rangers? When he was on the Rangers, because he wouldn't check back, he kept him on the ice for like 6 minutes. He wouldn't let him change, and it backfired because Kovalev was like, "This is great. I don't have to change," and he just stayed out there. And I think he ended up either scoring or doing something. Like, you look it up on YouTube, you'll find it.
Nice.
It might even been longer than 6 minutes.
Really?
Like, he would not take him off the ice. He wouldn't let him line change because he wasn't listening. So he's like, "All right, you're staying out there."
Oh, funny.
Sorry, I gotta catch up on these.
Yeah.
LeBanc is probably the most frustrating player to watch since Jeff Friesen. His hockey IQ is so much lower than his talent. Okay, trade LeBanc. There's a lot of that.
No. You don't trade away a guy who's been playing in your like top 6, top 9. And he's only getting paid $1 million, and he's got something to prove. I don't think you trade him away.
Yeah.
Plus, he's still an RFA, right? Oh no, he'll be UFA. Will he?
Who?
LeBanc. Will
No,
he
he's a RFA.
He's still an RFA.
Yeah.
But he has
because people are saying, should they not sign him next year? No, they should definitely sign him.
He has arbitration rights. That's what it is.
Next year.
Yeah. He has arbitration rights. Yeah.
Kovalev was on par with Yager when he actually cared. It was his 4 to 5 minute shift, and Alex Kovalev, when teammate asked him to back check, no, I score, and he scored a goal at the end of that shift, that long shift.
Awesome.
And I think I remember because I think he fell to the ground like in exhaustion and just like raised up his hands, if I remember that correctly. Anyway, that'll be fun to look up. I'm sure somebody will find it.
Yeah.
That's what I do at the end of our shows.
What's that?
That's what I do at the end of our shows.
Oh, that's what you do?
Lay down in exhaustion
down
and
and
just cheer.
Hey.
That is what he does. Robin Leonard for Arundel. I wouldn't mind seeing Robin Leonard. I like him.
That'll never happen.
Well, I'm not saying that trade.
Yeah.
I would like, because he's only a 1-year deal in Chicago.
Yeah.
I would like to see them sign Leonard here
Yeah.
next year.
Well, I wanted Leonard. I wanted Leonard before we got Jones.
Right.
And then I was happy when we got Jones. Don't get me wrong, but I wanted Leonard before we got Jones. And yeah, no, I'd love to have him again. Chicago's not doing great.
They're okay. They're not. Well, actually, I take that back. Well, they got 40 points. They're in dead last in their division
With 40 points.
with 40 points. I mean, that
Pacific's
division is
weak, guys.
so
I'm telling
much
you,
better.
we could still make playoffs.
So you're saying we have a chance.
I'm preaching it.
So they're sitting 7th because they only have 7 teams in the Central.
Okay.
We have 8.
Yeah.
With their 40 points, they would be sitting in 6th. Not that big of a
not
change.
big. Yeah. So if Chicago ends up wanting to sell, then I could see us maybe picking up a Leonard, but yeah, they'd have to take Dell essentially. They're not going to take
it. Too many. It's too hard to do trades right now. There's just yeah. They interviewed Kovalev after the game, and he said he thought he was being rewarded with a really long shift.
Oh my God.
It's so funny. Like
yeah, we'll look it up later.
Sorry.
Jesus.
What do you think about
the Kovalev show now? Go ahead.
What do you think about Patrick Marleau being 2 less points than Pavelski and in 3 less games?
Oh, then Pavelski's doing in Dallas
Pavelski
right
only
now.
has 2 more points, but he's played 3 more games than Marleau. That makes sense?
Yeah, it makes sense.
I think it's a fantastic steal for the Sharks then.
It's a huge steal for the Sharks to be able to get Marleau for the bargain basement price that they got him at. But it's also, hey, Pavelski's on a brand new team. And you can say the same about Marleau, but it's not really the case because he only took a 2-year hiatus. And he's back to the same team. With Pavelski, he's got new defensemen to learn on in terms of what they're going to do and where he's going to stand, and new system to learn. There's a lot of stuff going on with him. This isn't NHL 20 where you can just plug in a player and then they play the same strategy and they all go in the same lanes and everything else, right? Everybody has a different tendency, and it's learning those tendencies, and that's one of the things that made Joe Pavelski so successful with the Sharks. Was every single day the first two guys out on the rink for practice were Brent Burns and Joe Pavelski. And Burns would do, 50 shots, 60 shots, and Pavs would just tip. Just that was their routine every single time. And so that's why you saw it so often in the games, because they practiced the heck out of it during practice or before practice. So it comes down to the tendencies and learning those tendencies. So yeah, no, it's great that we have Marleau and he's producing. I wouldn't necessarily compare it to Pavelski, and because even if Pavelski was on our team, would he be doing better than he was in Dallas right now? Yeah, probably, maybe, but who knows? So but again, I like that we've got a guy who's just a couple points behind that pace,
right.
But he's getting paid way less.
Yeah, right.
Because we needed that.
Do you attribute Burns' dip in goals directly to the loss of Pavelski? No. The strategy kind of changed without Pavelski in front of the net. I think the power play is atrocious, and that needs to get changed and worked on, and I think that's where Burns is going to get a lot of his points. Mm-hmm. I don't think it's directly correlated to Pavelski, though. I mean, indirectly because they've had to change their strategy.
Yeah.
Strategy.
The drop in goals? Was that the
points?
question?
I was just say points.
Okay,
he
points.
said goals, but
I was gonna say the drop in goals. I would definitely say no, because that would imply that Pavelski's setting Burns up for goals. Maybe the amount of assists that Burns is getting,
or because he's screening.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Well, okay, maybe, but I think the amount of assists that Burns doesn't have as compared to maybe last season, you can attribute to Pavelski being gone, because again, that was their play. That was their bread and butter.
I think that's why Burns had so many points, is because he was getting so many. They were getting so many tips in from not just Pavelski. It was kind of their strategy of just rebounds, whatever. And he has such a quick wrist shot, a hard wrist shot from the point.
Yeah, it's
crazy. The thing is like a laser beam, and I think it takes goalies by surprise because they're not used to a wrist shot being that kind of powerful. So I think changing the strategy, and why Karlsson's kind of going to probably outscore him, is because Karlsson's more of a playmaker. Burns was more of setting up, not setting up, but setting up the tip play or a rebound option. I think so. That's why he's less of a playmaker. It's not like he does make stretch passes too, but Karlsson's just on a different level. And
maybe that's why we do see a dip in Burns' numbers, because the Sharks aren't getting into those dirty areas, and that's what Burns does. He fires that puck. Like you said, it's amazing to me sometimes how that puck gets through, because he's walking the blue line. There's somebody comes right up to him, and he fires that puck at the last second, and somehow slips it through his legs, slips it around him, slips it under his stick. Whatever the case may be, somehow that puck always tends to find its way at least towards the net without hitting the guy that's directly in front of him there. So, but maybe that is a reason why there's a dip, is because the Sharks as a team offensively have not been getting into those dirty areas, not getting in front of the goaltender's eyes, not really crashing. And we saw that against Philadelphia. We saw a little bit of that against LA, and it seemed to work out. They were kind of getting into those areas. Mm-hmm. So hopefully they get back to that. And if they do, didn't Burns pick up an assist?
Yes, he did.
So maybe he gets a handful more, if that's the strategy that they use going forward, is to, again, get into those dirty areas and get them uncomfortable with the other team, get them uncomfortable in the paint. That's what one of the things Bob Bugner wants, is to get those more north-south, get dirty, get in there, grind it out, right?
Right.
That's the style of play that he likes. So if that's the system that they're going for offensively, maybe you do see a jump in Burnsy's assists.
I think we see a little bit of a buy-in after the game last night.
Yeah.
Like it worked.
You would hope so, right?
So I think I'm hoping that's the kickstart that they needed. On a completely different note, Karina said, "You guys should have merch that says Fin Factor makes my body tingle."
We've heard that a couple times, but I feel like maybe 2 or 3 people have said it. Maybe I think that would be 2 or 3 sales, and I don't know if we can carry that much inventory.
Right.
But you know
In
what?
fact,
Honestly,
speaking of inventory,
we've talked about doing pre-sales and stuff, but maybe if we do something like that where we have like a pre-sale thing and you guys don't mind waiting a little bit longer, then we can stock up on the pre-orders and then do something for you. But yes, speaking of our inventory, we do have some stuff that's for sale right now. It doesn't say that your body tingles for us, but
I just put the link in the.
you can
in
just
the
know
chat.
it in your heart, and that would be good enough for me. So we have the hats, we've got the shirts, we've got the women's deep V cut, we've got the black, teal, and gray normal men's shirts as well. The hats again snap back, so any size head, unless you have one of those gigantic planet-sized heads.
We have stickers.
And stickers, of course, which
The water's empty.
work really well for the water bottles that make too much noise, as well as the laptops and whatnot. I don't know if you put them on there. He did. There it is. So if you want to trick out any of your laptops or water bottles or anything like that, feel free to pick up a sticker pack. Anything that you get does help support the show. It does not go into either of our pockets. It helps us keep the lights on, helps us do all this. And yes, eventually there will be a Studio B. I've actually heard, I have on good authority, that the thing that we need to sell first is almost sold. And then we'll be able to get everything that we need to do to get that one up and rolling.
Wow.
So be on the lookout for Studio B. I'm sure that'll happen hopefully fairly soon. But yes, anything that you guys do purchase, the proceeds absolutely do go to helping us keep the lights on, like I said, with the show. Also, since it is alive, the Super Chat money, the same thing. Any of that stuff comes in and helps us out as well.
So since this is our episode, let's talk about the week ahead.
Yeah.
We have 4 games this week.
Who?
We are playing, it's a road trip.
Okay.
It's the start of a 5-game or 6-game road
Okay.
trip. First, Tuesday night in Detroit. That should be a win. Detroit is horrendous. They are giving up so many goals. They're really bad. Tuesday in Pittsburgh. It's going to get a little tougher. The Penguins aren't what they used to be. Still not. They're not Detroit. They're not an easy team, but
Is Crosby off the IR? Because I know for
he's
fantasy.
supposed to be coming back.
Oh,
and
great.
he's still not back. Yeah,
Okay.
He's on my team. Saturday in Columbus. That's going to be a very hard-fought game. Followed up on the next night on Sunday morning in Washington. Well, it'll be a 12:30 p.m. Washington time game. That's brutal, man.
I hate to say it, but the Washington one might be just a scheduled loss.
It's actually 2 matinees. It's a 1 p.m. start in Columbus time,
Okay.
and then a 12:30 start the next day.
I don't like that at all.
Yeah, in Washington. That's brutal. Then they go into the week after, the following Tuesday in St. Louis. Then they finally come back home and play Columbus again at home on Thursday.
When's the St. Louis game?
Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Not this Tuesday, but the one after.
The one after, yeah.
So it's going to Detroit, Pittsburgh, Columbus, Washington.
Okay, let's get back. We haven't done this in a while. Let's get back to the expected points
Sure.
for that week. So let's start with the first one there, Detroit.
Win.
You think
Regulation win.
Regulation
Absolutely.
win, okay.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
There's no reason they should lose this game.
Okay.
If they do, let's just put it this way. This road trip is probably going to make or break their season. That's what I think. They can't go 500. They got to get points.
Mm-hmm.
And if they lose, they're done. They're going to be too far out.
I will disagree only if the teams ahead of us are also losing at the same rate.
They got to get points. They're on an East Coast trip here.
100% agree with you on that. I'm not willing to say we're out and we're done if the teams ahead of us are not getting points. I'll say that.
Sure.
However, I'm with you. I think that the Detroit game should be a win. I like that you specifically called out regulation. I agree with you there. It should be, especially if they see. This is the thing. You got that slump buster, right? You got out of Philadelphia or, against the Philadelphia Flyers with a big win. You played the right way in LA. It showed. You just lost it at the end there. It's okay, right? In terms of confidence building and whatnot, points it sucks. In terms of how the players take it. Showing the results, I think that was a good game, right? Then you go and you play against Detroit. It's a team that's just ripe for you to drill home the please buy into this system message, right? Because if they do that and they smack Detroit around, then it's like, okay, guys, see, it works, right? It works. Let's stick to it. Let's do it. Doesn't matter what team we play. Let's do this game plan. So yeah, again, hopefully that's a confidence booster in Detroit. And then from after Detroit, you said we go and we play Not
Pittsburgh.
Columbus, Pittsburgh. That's right.
I think that should also be a win.
Okay.
I don't think Pittsburgh's as strong of a team, especially with Crosby out.
Mm-hmm.
Malkin kind of leading the way, but
Is Matt Murray stumbling a little bit? Is he having a rough go?
yeah, he's not even the starter anymore.
That's right.
It's Tristan Jarry.
Tristan Jerry, yeah.
Jarry. Apparently, people are saying Columbus lost their goalie tonight to injury, and Tortorella was especially angry. And I'm reading because I have Corpusalo on my team. Awesome. And looks like it was the opening. Taves took a shot in the shootout, and he was in noticeable discomfort afterward. And he left the contest, and the backup came in to finish.
Wow.
So that means he probably pulled something. My guess would be a groin and that kind of injury.
Yeah,
I didn't see it, but that's my guess.
Played the whole game and then you have to leave during the shootout, yeah, something definitely went wrong there. That's a bummer for Columbus.
Yep. So I think. So anyway, Pittsburgh on Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a win.
Okay.
I also think that should be regulation.
Okay. I think it's going to be tight.
Needs to be.
I think it'll be a tight one. I hope they come out with it, and I think that they can.
Right.
But I think that one's going to be a tight one.
Then we go into Saturday in Columbus, and now with that news, I don't think that's going to be a short-term injury. So their goaltending is going to be rookies thrown into the fire.
Okay.
So hopefully that's a win, and then we go into Washington. That's just going to be tough.
Yeah, the Columbus. Well, okay. First of all, Washington for me scheduled loss. Columbus. That one's tough because Columbus is that grindy team, right?
Exactly.
I mean, the Tortorella, he's that guy.
The Sharks don't seem to play well against teams like that.
And that's just it. Like if and this will be a good test actually. So you've got rookie goaltending in there, but if the Columbus Blue Jackets are that team that plays really physical, pushes you out wide, and you don't get those opportunities, I think that whatever goaltender that you throw in there is probably going to be able to make a good plenty saves. If he's able to see the puck and the puck's coming from not very high danger areas. So that would kind of validate my whole point on I would rather have really solid defense,
right?
Team defense, that is, over really awesome goaltending. I'd rather have the mediocre goaltending with the really solid team defense in front. So that game might be a showcase for that, actually. So we'll see how that goes. Now, again, I think that one's probably going to be close. I think
that'll be close.
Skill-wise, they can come out with the win on that one, though. They just got to get past the rough and tumble play.
Mm-hmm. And then the Capitals on Sunday?
Loss.
Yeah. So I'd say 6 out of 8 points.
Okay. I feel like it's going to be a 4-5er somewhere in there. I think one of those games we just drop. But, yeah, probably a 4-5 point for me.
I'm going to say, they should beat Detroit. They should beat Pittsburgh. They should beat Columbus, and they're probably going to lose to Detroit, go to overtime against the Penguins, overtime against the Blue Jackets, and then beat the Capitals.
Who knows? It's hockey. Too much parity.
We'll score one for Aaron.
Oh, God. Jumbo's back.
What about the goalies? Do you go back to Jones in net?
Against Detroit?
Against Detroit. Or do you put Aaron Dell in? I think if you go back to Dell, that's a statement that Dell's the starter versus the hot hand. Because I thought Jones played well, and it's not like...
I think if you're playing...
They had 2 days rest.
It's Detroit, though. Usually you play your backup against the really poor teams.
You know what I noticed?
Think it's a statement.
What you just said?
Okay.
A lot of teams have been playing their backup against the San Jose Sharks.
That's true. Yeah.
And we can't beat them. Vegas did it the other night.
Yeah.
It's so sad.
That's the other thing to remember too. Yeah, if teams are gonna be playing their backups because they're not feeling threatened by us. I mean that might help us out in terms of the gathering points.
Yep.
Who knows?
Yeah.
I don't know. In terms of goaltenders, I don't think it's a statement necessarily. If you play Jones against Detroit, okay, great. If you play Dell against Detroit, I don't think it's saying Dell's a starter. I think it's saying, most teams would play their backups against the really poor teams of the league. We just happen to be one of the really poor teams right now, but Detroit's no different. And I think if you play Dell, it's just okay. You may be saving Jones for the next game against Pittsburgh, right? So I don't know. I don't know if it's a statement there necessarily. Again, for me, they're fairly equal in my eyes. Dell's really stepped up, I think, and Jones hasn't really been that bad as people think that he has been, or as bad as the goalie stats have kind of said that he is. I don't buy into that as much. So
Well,
I don't think it really matters. I think you play either one of those guys against any one of those teams, and you pretty much have the same opportunity.
He finished the game with a 963 save percentage.
Of course he did.
He had 27 shots against him. That's a decent amount of work.
Yeah.
It's not like it was a 18 or 15 shot, 1 goal against.
See, and
type
again,
game.
okay, so what's the difference? Nabokov's the new goaltending coach. I'm sure that has some effect. Bugner's system of let's play good, solid defense first, and we're going to hold guys accountable to playing good, solid defense and playing within my system. I feel like that has a little bit more to do with it. Because look, Martin Jones and Aaron Dell, they both know how to play a goal. They've been playing goal their entire lives. They've been elite level up until they hit the NHL. Like in their respective leagues, they were elite. That's why they got drafted. That's why they're in the NHL, right? So it's not like, Nabokov's teaching him how to put his pad down on the ice or how to, close up his 5-hole. These guys know that. It's the little intricacies of the game. I think the bigger change is how the whole team plays as a unit, pushing the pucks out, not giving up those extra chances. I think that's the difference. So, does Jones all of a sudden, did he turn a page and he's just phenomenal because he had a 9-something save percentage? I think he's been pretty much the same guy the whole time. Like fine-tuning things here and there, but I think he's more or less the same goalie. I think the system around him is not failing him now.
Yeah.
Anyway. That was so anticlimactic. Thank you, Aaron. Yeah. Silence.
If we get 5 points out of that trip, that would be awesome for Maxey.
Okay.
Do you think Dell performance is due to it being a contract year? No, it's not like he's knocking it out of the park. He's only putting it together the last 2 weeks.
Sure.
Maybe. He hasn't been head and shoulders above Jones. Do you think Pete DeBoer ends up in Dallas? That's a good question. Oh, yeah?
That's what I've been saying.
Really?
I've been saying that.
Oh, yeah, Jumbo?
Yeah. Go to Dallas. And then score one for Aaron.
Yeah.
I do think Pete DeBoer is going to be coaching again in the NHL.
Oh, absolutely.
And probably soon.
Yeah.
He probably just wanted to be like, yeah, I'll take the Christmas and New Year's off, and I'll be ready to go.
Look, for me, there was nothing wrong with Pete DeBoer. The only difference is that the boys were just not responding to his voice anymore. Again, for me, it sounds like Bugner's message is more or less the same type of message. It's just little tweaks to how he wants things ran specifically.
He's paid out for the season, right?
Yeah, he's still paid for another
and the next
2
season.
years. Yeah,
This season and the next, he gets paid. DeBoer.
So he can double dip if he gets a job.
Yeah, which
just
is
like when
great.
you get laid off in a job and you can pick up another one before that cash money runs out. You get to double dip.
If only we knew what that felt like.
Yeah. So no, Pete DeBoer, great, solid coach. Like we said with Donsko, it changed the scenery. Maybe that's just all it was for the Sharks. They needed a change of personnel, to
coaches,
kind of get themselves back
look
into
around
it.
the NHL. How many coaches stay more than 5 seasons?
Not
There's
many,
not that many.
yeah.
I forgot who, after Pete was fired, because there was, the guy in Calgary and Toronto and one other team fired their coach.
Mm-hmm.
Like, one of the longest tenured coaches was only there for 3 seasons or something like that in the NHL. It's like, man, there's been so many coaching changes recently. So, yeah. All right. Let's wrap it up here.
Cool.
You got anything else you want to add? Anything else you want to bring up?
Not really. I like that we called out Teemo. We put the clock down.
We might have to do that again later.
We snoozed Teemo time, and he came back. And again, he played well, but my hats off really for Kaner for doing the hard work and setting him up. Right place, right time for Teemo. I think Kane did a lot of really good work there, and I don't mind him not putting the puck in the net himself if he's out there helping setting plays up and giving guys opportunities to score. So good job on Kaner on that one. Really, really happy. And actually, Kane also had a tweet that he put out saying, kind of congratulating Teemo on his hat trick. So again, just being a good teammate. He could have just said it behind closed doors, but he wanted to throw it out there on socials for everybody to see. So good teammate. I don't get all the hate for Evander Kane. I think he's a good dude. He's a good dude. So, yeah, that's my piece. Anything you want to add?
You only take your hat off for a hat trick from Illuminato.
No, I can go like this. I could tip my hat. I didn't throw my hat. I wasn't there, so. You bet I was yelling, though, that the neighbors were probably, what's going on?
Yeah, I don't think I have anything else. We will be back next week, though.
Yeah.
We'll do a live next week and a recorded show as well. So we'll be back to our normal schedule.
No recorded show this week.
No
This is
recorded
it.
show.
This does serve as episode number 73, so there will not be a recorded show. But you guys can rewatch this if you want to, I suppose. So there's that. I guess there's nothing else then.
That's
We're
it.
good. Okay. Hey, guys, thanks again for tuning in. We do appreciate lovely conversations and whatnot. And I don't know if maybe we'll switch to this format sometime down the road. I don't know. It's pretty cool, but we still like doing the recorded stuff too. So
We might even do some stuff outside of the studio.
Ooh.
Maybe a live show here and
knows?
there.
Aaron's house.
No, I think other venue,
Yes.
perhaps.
We'll go to the people. We'll bring it to the people. And we'll have
Nice.
an audience.
In any case, yeah, feel free again visit that store, and if you're not subscribed, please do hit that sub button and ring that bell so that you know when we're doing this, because again, we enjoy having the conversation with you guys, and we know a lot of people like having the comments, and it kind of gets us thinking on our toes and whatnot. So
It's fun.
It is.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun. So
You never know what people are going to say or ask. It's fun.
Yep. Anyway, so for super producer Jason, actually, you can go get yourself out. Go ahead.
Yeah, Happy New Year.
Oh boy, Joe Thornton for Joe Thornton.
Score one for Aaron.
And I'm Paul,
And I'm Aaron.
and we will see you guys
Next week.
Next week.
Beat
Happy
DeBoer
New
to
Year.
Dallas.
Bye.
Bye bye.